Good morning, everyone.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining tonight's this morning session on the MIAD 805, where we'll be focusing on the Middle East. Particularly, we've done Module 1 and Module 2, while this morning we've done Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, and this morning we are going to focus on some past questions. And uh, part of the past question will focus on some. I want us to focus on some questions I think we might talk on it while we were doing our class, but I want us to just touch on them as a question. There's a question I saw. The question says, why is the Middle East regarded as the cradle of civilization? I don't know whether you saw that question too.
Yes.
The,
Yes,
the
I've
question
seen
they
it.
explain why the Middle East is called the cradle of civilization. That's in Module 1. So,
Yeah.
the one where we're explaining the historical perspective of understanding the Middle East. And the question says, explain why the Middle East is called the cradle of civilization. Why is it called the cradle of civilization? What's in that? So when you say cradle of civilization, what do you mean by cradle of civilization? So cradle of civilization is also known as the bedrock of civilization. That is where civilization came from.
Sorry.
So where civilization came from. It is believed by the Western that civilization comes from the West. Some will say it comes from the East. It's kindly mute yourself.
Omotola, please mute your microphone. Thank you.
So it is believed by the West that civilization comes from the West, but historically, civilization came from the Middle East, not from the West. You understand? As it is told by people. Understand now? We say Western education, Western civilization, which is historically not true. So the Middle East has been known as the cradle of civilization for centuries. Understand? It has been known as the cradle of civilization from centuries. And I will just write the question: why is explain why the Middle East is called the cradle of civilization? Number one reason why the Middle East is called the cradle of civilization is the invention of writing. The invention of writing. The invention of writing. So the writing system was invented in the Middle East, and there was a system they call cuneiform. Cuneiform is spelled Cuneiforf. Cuneiform. So cuneiform. So cuneiform is one of the earliest writing system. Understand? It's one of the earliest writing system that emerged from the Sumer. Understand? Sumerian. I think you've heard of the story of the Sumerian. So cuneiform is one of the earliest writing system that emerged from the Sumer. When the Sumer is as Sumer. Understand? So this writing system was placed to enable administrative and record keeping during that period. Understand? That's the period, when we say period before Jesus Christ, understand? BC, the BC period. Understand? So the white or the Westerners, they went there and they saw all these things, but they tried to keep history. They tried to cover history from us, but there are some things they cannot cover. You get, there are some things they cannot cover. When you go to Egypt today, you see that there are pyramids in Egypt. If it was possible for the Westerner, to take over the pyramid to their country, they will have taken the pyramid. They will have taken the pyramid. You get, but it comes to their imagination that these things are something they cannot take. There was white conquest. That was what we call the white conquest. They did it in major parts of Middle East, Africa, and Asia, where they go. I don't think you've heard about Benin conquest, where they came. They killed most of our people in Benin. demolish the Benin Wall, the Great Benin Wall, and the likes. So in order to cover history, they take your history and they clean up things that will make you to let your people know about your history. So the writing system started. If you are writing today, if you are reading today, it started from the Middle East. That's number one. Number two, the Middle East is regarded as the birthplace of early civilization. Is regarded as the birthplace of early civilization. Understand? So when you look at that was a city, that was like I can call it a city or a country, not a country as we call it now. We call it the Mesopotamia. We call it the Mesopotamia. So in the Mesopotamia, they have some towns which we can call it city now, like a big city having other city inside. Understand now? Or a big country. Let's just say Mesopotamia is a big country that has other small city inside. So in Mesopotamia, they had country like Babylon. I think you heard about Babylon before. I think if you read the Bible, you should hear Babylon in the Bible before. So Babylon, we have Assyria, we have Sumer. So these cities, they were in the Middle East. But when you look at the history of these cities, they were home to the earliest complex society. You understand? They were home to the earliest complex society, empires, understand, and city-state. Because the system of government in Mesopotamia was even advanced than the one in the western region, in the western part of the world. Understand? So you hear the great empire of Mesopotamia. So when you look at these cities, how the system of government was placed, it was even advanced than Western system of government. So it serves as a cradle, it serves as a bedrock to Westerners to copy on. You get? So the early birthplace of civilization came from the Mesopotamia. Understand? It came from the Mesopotamia as they have the earliest complex society, empire, and city building or city states. You understand? So another one is another reason why we call the Middle East the cradle of civilization is that is the birthplace of major religion of the world. Is the birthplace of major religions of the world. When you talk about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they all originated from the Middle East, shaping the global civilization. You understand? Judaism has its own civilization, Christianity has its own civilization, Islam has its own civilization. And these three major religions conquer the whole world because there is no country you will go, you will not see a trace of this religion. Understand? So these three major religions, they have their own civilization that serve as a sample in shaping the global civilization. You understand? And the fourth one, why the Middle East is regarded as the cradle of civilization, is the agricultural revolution. Agricultural revolution. You see in the Bible, in the Quran, you will see that Joseph dream, and at the end of it, he asked them to do farming for 7 days or 7 years or 7 days and the like. I don't know history regarding that, but what I want to infer is that when you look at the system of farming placed by Joseph then, you should know that it is not about using fertilizer to make your crop grow. It is about finding a way you can survive for many years. How did they know that they can provide something aside from getting revelation from the Lord? How did they know that they can plant this percentage of crop and it will last them for years? So agricultural revolution, the fertile crescent witnessed early farming irrigation. As in the Middle East, somebody said the Neolithic revolution. So the Middle East witnessed what we call the early stage of farming irrigation. And domestication of animals. you will see that most of them, all the prophets, all the prophets that you might call the name, is either they are farmers, or they are the rare animals, or the rare camels, or even if they don't rear any farm, if they are not farmer, in their family, in their generational line, you will see that they are either cattle rearers, come to Joseph, Jesus, and the likes. You understand? So all of them, you will see that it's like the cradle of agricultural revolution. Understand? Cattle rearing and farming. Understand? So this cattle rearing and farming system was how you got development was initiated. Like, I'm not saying that there was no cattle rearing in other parts of the world then, but the system with the employ was totally different from the system we are currently employing. So now, currently, you see that we use, even to feed our animals, to feed chicken, only bread our chicken, we have to put chemical in their food so that they can be big. But then there was nothing of such. They have their own system that can sustain them. You understand? So the last reason why the Middle East is regarded as cradle of civilization is that there was there was urbanization and a system of government different from the Western system of government. Understand? There was urbanization and a system of government different from the Western system of government. Understand? So we talk about Babylon. Understand? We talk about Babylon. Aside from Babylon, we talk about the Sumerian. We talk about Mesopotamia and the likes. Understand? The Mesopotamia is the bigger state, like the bigger state that has all the small states inside again. So all these cities, like the Babylon, the Sumer, the how do you call the Assyria, all these cities, understand? They pioneer the current system of government we are practicing in major part of the world. They pioneered this system of government. Understand? So that was what we call the law code, administrative institution, and governance. Even if you are not aware, just look at how Pharaoh in Egypt was ruling. Look at how Pharaoh in Egypt was ruling. I think we've all, even if you've not watched the movie, you've heard about this the story. You will see that under the throne of Pharaoh, some people are beside him. He has people, the advisors. He has people. Listen, in the legislative, he has people in the judiciary. He has people in the executive, that they talk together and they give laws together, which means that they plan the system of government in a way that their principles they follow, even before the advent of democracy. So before the advent of democracy, they had a system of the government that has law codes, that have an administrative institution, and they had an organized governance. Understand? That means that before the white men we came as with something they call democracy, they had their own system of government that worked best for them. So it's when democracy came, they were not tagging all the system of government as bad system of government. Even to us, democracy is not the best system of government because there is no best system of government. So these 5 reasons and other reasons that you might think of are the reason why we call the Middle East as the cradle of civilization. Understand? So this is the question. The question again is explain why the Middle East is the cradle of civilization. Okay. There's another question I want us to look into. The question says, uh,
Sorry, please. The fifth reasons. My network. So I don't know. Is it government?
can anyone repeat it for us, please? The 5th reason.
Urbanization and the system of government different from other systems. And then he made reference to Pharaoh in the Bible as an example who had a political structure, had his cabin and had executives and different persons holding a term of affairs, holding different roles. That's like a summary.
Okay. Okay, there's one question also that says, account for the achievement of the Byzantine Empire. Account for the achievement for the Byzantine Empire. I don't know how you pronounce the name, but that's how I pronounce it. Byzantine is Byzantine. Byzantine. Account for the achievement of the Byzantine Empire. That was in Module 1 also, but we just explain when we're explaining the history of how the Middle East was created. Understand? So one thing is you just need to know is that when you talk about Byzantine, understand, Byzantine Empire was a custodian of the Greco-Roman Empire. Understand? So when you say the Greek and the Roman Empire, understand? So Byzantine was a custodian of the Greek and the Roman Empire. So they were not asking of, you should say, lost the achievement of the Byzantine Empire. Achievement of the Byzantine Empire. You know, there was Roman Empire, there was Greek Empire, there was, understand, all this empire came and they go. Understand, before we come to the civilization stage, and then from the civilization came to the advent of the how do you call it? The Middle East was formed, the Israel was formed, and the like. So, but they are not asking us the achievement of the Byzantine Empire. Understand now? Number one achievement of the Byzantine Empire, awesome, preservation and codification of Roman Empire. Preservation and codification of Roman Empire. I said the Byzantine are the custodian of the Greco-Roman Empire. Understand? They will not say that the one achievement is that they preserve and they codify of the Roman Empire. So they preserve and codify and preserve the classical Roman legal principle. Awesome? They preserve, they codify the classical Roman legal principle, and this shape the modern legal system globally. This shape the modern legal global system globally. So now, this means that these people in the Middle East, they have a way to preserve, the Byzantine have their own way to preserve the legal system, that is the law. Understand? So, based on this law that was preserved, it helped us to understand all this current law. Understand? All this current law that our judges and the lawyers are practicing. They inspire themselves from it. They got inspiration from all this the how do you call it, the Roman legal system. You understand now? When you go to Mali, in Mali, there was an empire, the Timbuktu Empire. The Timbuktu Empire in Mali, when you go there, you will see that when the white men came, they wanted to destroy all this information. They wanted to destroy all this information. That's how can the African has this knowledge? Who taught them this thing? Understand? But it take the grace of someone. They call his name Aidara, that he preserved this information for them to be destroyed. Understand? Same thing applicable in major part of the world. I think you've heard it in the news whereby sometimes they will just say that, oh, they saw Benin bronze in UK. They saw, even I went to one museum in the UK here. I saw Yoruba statues in this Glasgow, in these cities I saw Yoruba statues, which means that they take your history, they take the valuable things from you, so that you will not be able to transfer it to the next generation. But the Byzantine, they preserve and codify the Roman law. Look at Egypt today. when you look at the pyramid, you will see some inscription on the pyramid. Only those that are initiated can translate them because they have been codified. They don't want external people to know about these things. You understand now? So they codify the Roman law and they preserve the Roman law, which serve as a bedrock to the modern system or to the modern legal law that we are laying on. Understand? The number two is one of the number two achievement of the Byzantine Empire is architectural legacy. Architectural legacy. The structured that were built beyond the modern technological explanation was done at the Byzantine Empire, such as the Hagia Sophia. Understand now? When you say Hagia Sophia, it's the Hagia and Sophia Sophia. You can go on Google and type and see that structure. Understand now? So this kind of structure that was beyond the explanation of modern civilization existed. You understand? Even let's leave the Byzantine. Let's go to Nigeria. You understand now? When you look at the Great Benin War, it is said that the Great Benin War, when they came, they were surprised that the African can build such a long wall without technology. They have to demolish this so that we African can feel ourselves as inferior. You understand now? So there are some architectural design. Then, even up to date, they are saying that they were not built by these people, they were built by aliens. The Pyramid of Egypt, the question people are still asking themselves all to date is, who built this Pyramid of Egypt? Because it should not be human being. Because these things are heavy. These stones are heavy, right? So, because these stones are heavy, you like no technology, no machine, no AI advanced technology. But how were they able to build such pyramid? And according to them, the pyramid we are seeing is just 30% we are seeing up here. It's just 30%. The 70% are down. So how did they build this? I said no. So I'm not saying that I'm not saying that how do you call? I'm not saying that the pyramid is just the only example we can cite in the before the advent of current civilization. But what I'm saying that there are many examples like that. Again, there are many examples whereby they surpass the explanation of modern civilization, modern technology. Understand? So they serve as the background of engineering innovation. Understand? They serve as the background of engineering innovations. Understand? Number 3 achievement of the Byzantine Empire: cultural and intellectual preservation. Cultural and intellectual preservation. The Byzantine Empire preserved the Greek philosophy, science, literature, and art, and they transmit them. Understand? They transmit them to the Islamic world, and eventually it gets to Europe. They preserve the philosophy, the Greek philosophy, the science, literature, and art, and transmitting them to the Islamic world, and then eventually enter Europe. So when you talk about advanced science, philosophy, art, literature, understand? So I'm sorry for those that are not Muslim here. I'm sorry, just want to make an example. When you look at the Quran, for instance, those are the literature. When you look at some verses in the Quran, you will see that at the end of the verses in the Quran, they have the same lyrics, the same intonations. You understand now? So they have the same lyrics. Most of the verses. I'm not saying the Quran is the literature, but I'm saying that the way things are done, the literatures in these olden days, before the advance of this Western civilization, was beyond their comprehension. Because the Westerners, they believe that they are the propeller of civilizations. They are the propeller of civilization. So since they believe that they are the propeller of civilization, that was the white conquest, they wanted to civilize all the world, the British, during the how do you call it, during the partition of Africa and major part of East. You understand? I think that was in 1818, if I'm not mistaken, 1818 or 1814. So where there was the partition of major parts of Africa and Europe. So what happened is, when they get to this area and you see that there are things that are even beyond your own explanation. You think that you want to bring civilization to them, but when you get there, you see that what you want to bring to them, they have something more than what you want to give them. Understand? So advanced science, philosophy, art, and literature, understand, existed in this part of the world. Understand? In the Byzantine empires. Understand? And another one, the number 4, is it number 4, number 5? Is it number 4, number 5?
Number 4.
Number 4. Okay, number 4. Advancement of Christian theology. Advancement of Christian theology. So when you look at the Orthodox Christianity, understand? So this Orthodox Christianity influenced the current, how do you call it? The current Christianity we are witnessing in Europe. It is believed that the Orthodox Christian, they are still in Ethiopia. Understand? I think in this January, they celebrated the Christmas. The Orthodox Christian so they believe that they are the one that have the right information about Christianity. So the Byzantine Empire, they have they help to advance Christianity, the message of Christianity. I'm sorry, just wake up. Go. Good. Let me just 1 minute, please. I just want to give me his food. 1 minute. Sorry. Wait. Well, take. It's okay. I'll take. I'm back. Sorry. So I was talking about advancement of Christian theology. Understand now? So they help to shape Christianity, and this Christianity moved to the European side. But the story we know, understand that is glaring to us, is that the story we know is that it's the Westerner that give us Christianity. That's another story you know, which is still debatable. Understand? I'm not saying it is wrong or it's right, but it is still debatable. You understand? Because in Ethiopia, they still argue that they are the Orthodox, the real Orthodox Christian in Ethiopia. So the Ethiopian Christian, the way they practice Christianity is different from major parts of the world. You can Google it. They celebrated the Christmas this January because they have different calendar. They celebrated their own Christmas this January. So that's number 4. The number 5, diplomatic and military strength is one of the achievements of the Byzantine Empire. Diplomatic and military strength. So the Byzantians survived century through diplomacy, alliances, and military technology, like the Greek fire. When you watch all these Spartacus, all these movies, you will see where when they close the entrance of the city, you will see that they will be throwing fire. I don't know, it's like their own form of bomb. They will be throwing it. If you do watch all these veteran movies of Spartacus and the likes, understand? So you will see, once they close the door like this, they will be throwing the fire on the enemy. Listen, this is kind of the technology, this military technology that these people build then. Listen, if the Byzantine Empire stay long, it's because they create a system of diplomatic alliances. Listen, so these are the achievements, some of the achievements of the Byzantine Empire. You can also Google some of the achievements of the Byzantine Empire also. Listen, so
Sorry,
if you have
Mr.
questions,
Akanji, I missed the first and the third and the second.
can anyone tell us the first?
And the second, please.
Preservation and codification of the Roman Empire. Then the second one is architectural legacy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Another question I'm having here is, the question says, discuss the factors that led to the normalization of diplomatic relation between Israel and some Arab countries. Discuss the factors that led to the normalization of diplomatic relation between Israel and some Arab countries. That is, what led to agreement between Israel and some Arab country? What led to negotiation, agreement, or diplomatic talks between them? Understand? The number one thing that led to it is a shared security threat. Shared security threat. Understand? So when you just know both Israel and the Gulf states. So when I say the Gulf state, I talk about EAU. I mean, how do you call it? UAE rather. UAE. I talk about Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Iran and others. Understand? So when you look at them, both these countries, understand, they see that war is causing more harm than good. Understand? So as Israel was being attacked every time, all of them, they are trying to have how do you call it? Weapons, right? So all of them are trying to get weapons from the external forces. Understand? So they also see Iran. Understand? They see Iran nuclear weapons, understand? And regional expansion as a threat. Is it Iraq or Iran? Did we talk Saddam Hussein? Which country is Saddam?
Saddam Hussein is Iraq.
Iraq? No, I'm not talking about Iraq. He's talking about Iran.
Iran.
Iran is Ayatollah. Right? The current Iran is in
Ayatollah, Iran.
Ayatollah, thank you. Ayatollah, yeah, Iran. So, no, currently, Iran has, how do you call it, the nuclear weapons. Understand now? So, they see it as a security threat. Understand? So, and aside from that one, what was causing more harm to them? All Israel and major part of the Middle East, understand, and the Arabs, what was causing more harm than good to them? They had to come to find a ground of negotiation and diplomatic talk. So you should be able to know how you can put it there. I'm just trying to explain so you have an idea of one of the reasons, or some of the reasons why there was diplomatic, how do you call, relation between some Arab states and Israel. Understand? So it's a shared security threat. You know, they were neighbors. So as neighbors, if one is being bombarded, the other is going to feel it. Understand that it's going to affect economy, security, even environment degradation in that region. Understand? That's number one. Number two reason why they came diplomatic relation between these people, understand, between the Arab and Israel is the U.S. mediation and incentive. You understand? U.S. came as an arbitrary mediator. Understand? The U.S. came as an arbitrary mediator. Understand? So under the Abraham Accord, you can see under the Abraham Accord, the United States offered political, military, and economic incentive to Arab states. You understand? Normalizing relation. In the Arab Accord, even they have to ask Egypt to stop all these fights. And you see, so how do you call, the USA came as referee. They came as referee to settle the fight, but they did not come to settle the fight alone just like that. They came with incentive. They came with gift, political gift, military gift, and economic incentives. So this gift they gave them made them to succumb. And so now made them to succumb and find a ground for negotiation and peace. So you should know that US is trying to play the role of hegemon, like the role of we are the biggest superpower. So and when the biggest superpower sees that all these small countries are fighting, it should find a way to resolve the fight. So this number 2 reason. Number 3 reason. What are you doing? Number 3 reason. Declining centrality of the Palestinian issue. Declining centrality of the Palestinian issues. Declining centrality of the Palestinian issues. So the Arabs, the Arabs government, understand when you say the Arab government, not only one country, all this Arab government, understand? They were not prioritizing national development, understand? Economic development, modernization, understand? And internal stability. So over the Palestinian questions, all the Arabs, they take Palestine as their brother. But coming to a stage, you are fighting every day. And as you are fighting, you are losing men. As you are losing men, your economy is going down. As your economy is going down, your people, there's instability in your zone. So it was not favoring them again. So they were looking for economic development, national interest, the national interest, their own national interest instead of the Palestinian interest. So they were clamoring for the national interest, economic development, modernization, and internal stability over the Palestinian quest. So each country started facing its own business. When you look at these wars, when you look at all these wars they fought in this cause, you will see that the war that does not belong to them, like especially Egypt, the war that does not belong to Egypt carry it in his head because they want to fight for their brother, which is Palestine. Likewise, Lebanon, Syria, and the likes, they fought for Palestine. But initially, the war was not their own war. It was a war of Palestine and Israel, not the war of their own, the other Arab. But the Arabs, they supported Palestine because they consider Palestine as the rightful owner of that land. As a brother, they have to support the brother. That is why I understand now. But at a stage, they have to find a way to prioritize their own national interest. So some people will say selfish interest. But this is not selfish interest here. This is national interest. That is trying to find peace in your own country before you try to solve another person wahala. You understand? So that's another reason. Another reason for normalizing diplomatic relation between the Arabs and the Israel is technology and economic benefits. What do you want? Wait. Please just give me a minute, please. Is there? Wait. Leave it. Okay. Technology and economic benefits. So Israel was developing. Amidst Israel got support. Of course, they got support from the British, and they got support from the USA. So Israel was developing. Understand? So they needed what? They were getting innovated in cyber security, agriculture, and how do you call it? Medicine. So that was development in Israel. Understand now? So this development in Israel appeal to the Gulf countries. Understand? Because they can see the development in Israel and they can see how there is economic degradation in their own and political instability in their own zone. They can see. So because of this one, understand, they have to find a way to do what we call economic diversification plan. Understand? Economic diversification plan. So instead of us to face war, to be fighting war and being perished at the end of the war, let's find a way to diversify ourselves to boost our economy. Understand? So the technology and innovation in Israel prompted them to find a collaborative stand with Israel so that they can diversify their own economy and boost their economy. Understand? Why the fifth one I have here is exhaustion with prolonged conflict. Understand? When you say about exhaustion with prolonged conflict, you see, there was decades of war. Understand? Decade of war, 1947. Let me just put it to 1918. Because before when the 1918, during the Balfour Declaration of the Lies, you understand? You can see that although we did not mention some of the little conflict that happened, but I'm pretty sure that there were conflict that happened. Understand? So when you look at between that 1918 or 1917 to 2025, these are decades of war. Understand? And between this decade of war, there was failed negotiations. There were different negotiations, different accord. Understand? But at the end, there was also instability in this Gulf zone, in this Arab zone. I'm busy, yeah? Sorry. I'm sorry. I think. So there was instability in this Arab zone. And so there was indirectly, there was fatigue. That this Arab state was tired. They were tired of these decades of war. So they have to come with a plan of diplomatic relation with Israel so that the decades of war is going to be stopped. The current visible war they are fighting now is between Palestine and Israel. So that's current visible war. If you want to put the Iran war, Iran is not fighting how do you call it? Israel straight as it was. So Israel, Egypt also is not fighting Israel. But currently, the one that is very visible is between Palestine and Israel, and it's Palestine that is always attacking Israel currently. But the intensity of the war then has reduced now because of this diplomatic the relation, and because the Arabs also they are tired of the war, the decades of war and unresolved failed negotiations. Understand? So this is about this question that says we should account for what prompted the negotiation between the Arabs and Israel. Am I communicating, please? If you are with me, just let me know.
Yeah, with you.
Yes, sir. We are with you.
I'm seeing new face here. I don't know. I'm seeing Alexandra. I'm seeing Anawanti. Now, we want to look at another question that we are thinking of. The question says, define Gulf War and explain factor that led to the Gulf War. Can anyone define Gulf War for us? From your own understanding of Gulf War. I think we've done it. We've done it already. Can anyone define Gulf War for us? Define Gulf War. Define Gulf War. What's Gulf War? Let me just define it. Don't let us waste our time. So the Gulf War, and so This Gulf War referred to the 1990 to 1991 conflict in which the US-led international coalition expelled the Iraqi forces from Kuwait. Listen, after the Iraq invaded and attacked and attempted to annex Kuwait. You should all remember that when you talk about Gulf War is when
Can you take it again? I didn't get that.
The Gulf War referred to the 1990 to 1991 conflict in which the US-led international coalition, if I'm not mistaken, US formed the coalition of, I think, 36 or 39 armed forces with different countries. So they expel Iraqi forces from Kuwait. Which means that Iraq, understand? Iraq as a country, they went to Kuwait, understand? They invaded Kuwait. The US, with the coalition, they chased them away. Understand? They expelled them. They chased them away. Understand? Because the Iraq invasion was with the mission of annexation of Kuwait, which means that they want to make Kuwait a state, a province, a state of Iraq. Do you get? So Iraq want to make Kuwait a state of Iraq, which is wrong. Understand? That is a way of taking sovereignty from a country. Understand? Of losing sovereignty, annexation. You understand? So yeah, they want to make Iraq, Kuwait, their 18 province, 18 states. Understand? So this Gulf War was characterized by large-scale airstrike. Understand? Large-scale airstrike, and rapid ground operation. So they strike from the air. After from the air, they now enter from the ground, like a ground operation. So he's just trying to let all the definition. They just want us to understand, to explain what you understand regarding the Gulf War. So the war they fought the conflict between the 1990 to 1991, which the US-led coalition, they expel Iraqi, understand, from Kuwait. Understand? After Iraq was attempting to annex Kuwait. Shikina. Understand now? So another question they say, define Gulf War and explain the factor that led to the Gulf War. Factor that led to the Gulf War. The factor that led to the Gulf War. Number one factor that is visible from the explanation we just gave now. Who can tell me from the explanation we just gave now? One factor that is visible.
Annexation of Kuwait.
Thank you very much. Annexation of Kuwait or the Iraq invasion of Kuwait. You understand now? So Saddam Hussein, who was the leader in Kuwait, the president in Kuwait, Saddam Hussein, accused Kuwait of oil overproduction. Understand? Saddam Hussein, the leader of Iraq, he accused Kuwait of oil overproduction and stealing Iraqi oil. Understand? From the Rumaila field. There's a field, Rumaila, yeah. Rumaila. Rumaila. Understand now? Rumaila. I don't know how you pronounce it. Rumaila. Understand? So it's a field like the Bakassi Peninsula. There's Bakassi Peninsula between Nigeria and Cameroon. Understand now? So Iraqi
Sorry, please, can you spell it again?
RUMAILA is a field. Is a field. Understand now? So if you know about the busy. So if you know about what do you want? I'll take. Sorry. So if you know about the Bakassi Peninsula crisis in Nigeria, between Cameroon and Nigeria, you know that it's just an area. It's just an area where there is oil, and Nigeria is trying to claim it, and Cameroon is also trying to claim it. So it's a bit similar to the Rumalia field, where Saddam Hussein is accusing Kuwait for stealing oil from that Rumalia field. Understand? So on August 2, 1990, Iraq now invaded Kuwait for that reason. Understand now? That's number one reason. Number two reason is economic hardship after the Iraq and Iran war. Economic hardship after the Iraq and Iran war. Economic hardship after the Iraq and the Iran war. Economic hardship after the Iraq and the Iran war. Economic hardship after the Iraq and the Iraq, yeah. After the war they fought, listen, that was hardship. I think. Take. Oh, you two, you'll be reading. So, Iraq emerged, understand, from this 8-year war, understand, heavily indebted. That is, they enter BC, they enter debt from this war. Understand now? So, they sought for financial relief through territorial expansion. They believe that if they expand their territory to Kuwait, if they took over Kuwait, since Kuwait is a rich country, if they took Kuwait as part of them, they are going to get financial relief from it. Now, so because of this 8-year long war they fought, they became indebted. They enter Wahala. Economic crisis. They enter economic crisis because of this Kuwait issue. Number 3. What do you want? Welcome. Come. Please, a minute. You just wake up, so he's trying to disturb me. I'm coming, please. Just give me 2 minutes, please. I'll be back.
It's okay, Mr. Akanji.
Number three, please. Number three here is Saddam Hussein regional ambition. Saddam Hussein regional ambition. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Saddam Hussein regional ambition. Saddam Hussein wanted to place Iraq as a dominant Arab nation. You understand? He wanted all Arab nations to see Iraq as a dominant Arab nation, either in military, in economic, and ideology. Son, he wanted the world. Sorry. All right. Let's keep up this up. So he wanted he wanted the whole world, the whole Arab nation, to see Iraq as a dominant Arab nation. You get it? So this was not even how do you call convenient for this USA. Let me just say it was not convenient for USA because Saddam Hussein was getting popularity and he was becoming a threat again. So for that reason, he wanted to take over the whole Gulf state so that they can see Iraq as how do you call it, the dominant nations. So when you look at South America, you see that USA is dominant. When you look at in Asia, you see China being dominant. When you look at the how do you call it, the Russia part, the other country in the Russia and the EU side, you see that Russia is being dominant there. So he wanted the same thing, that they can see Iraq as the dominant nations. So that's his ambition. His ambition led him to create the Gulf War. Understand? So number four reason: international and Arab opposition. International and Arab opposition.
Sorry to bring you back. You said economic, ideology, and
Military.
like the factors that Saddam Hussein wants to. Okay, military.
Military. So the number four is international and Arab operation.
Is it
So
opposition or operation?
opposition. So most Arab nations, Saudi Arabia and Egypt and the likes, they condemn Iraq aggression and supported the coalition. They supported the USA-led coalition. You can recollect that during the Gulf War, Saudi Arabia gave the US-led coalition the Air Force base. Understand now? So Egypt also supported them. So you should know that most Arab nations, they go against Iraq, Saddam Hussein plan. Understand? They go against Saddam Hussein plan. So that international opposition and the Arab opposition make it easier for for them to catch Saddam Hussein. Assuming that these people, this Arab nation, they supported Saddam Hussein, they will not catch Saddam Hussein, but they engaged Saddam Hussein plan. Understand? Because he was trying to be overpowering them. Understand? So if they leave them, they might lose their own sovereignty. Understand? So the fifth one here we have is oil politics and the global strategic interest. Oil politics and global strategic interest. So the control over Kuwait oil, understand? You know, Saddam Hussein wants to control Kuwait oil because he lost money during the war with Iran. So the control over Kuwait oil threatened the global energy market. If you recollect, I said that any war that occur in the Middle East will affect the global energy market. Understand now? So a war they are fighting there will reach Europe will reach Africa because there is the global energy market price is being determined due to the reserve of energy they have there. So now they are rich in oil and energy in that zone. And so now, so because of that, Western power responded swiftly to protect economic interest, which is selfish interest. Listen, so because they want to protect economic interest of the world, they have to respond to what Saddam Hussein is doing. So the effect. So these are the effects I have here, or about the Gulf War. If you have, you can Google also. If you have any addition, you can add it to it. Now, another question. Another question I saw. Is it examine the factor that led to the Arab Spring? You know, we're talking about Gulf War. Now, Arab Spring. Somebody put in the group this morning or yesterday night, the general group, about Iran. Yeah, about Iran, the crisis happening in Iran. So somebody put, I don't know whether you read it. So currently there is a crisis happening in Iran, which might lead to another Arab Spring. Not Arab Spring, Iran Spring, because other Arab states they don't have any issue. So which might lead to another spring in Iran. So currently they are demanding for the change of government, and because things are very expensive currently in Iran. One in how do you call it? I think 1,000 rial Iranian money is not even equivalent to $1, so which is very very bad. So they are demanding for there is a I can say a revolution coming up, which this morning that we are talking, as I wake up, I went to go and check one news. I went to a news site to read news, and the news is saying that Donald Trump want to go to Iran, want Saudi Arabia and Egypt to borrow them the airspace so that they can be targeting Iran. But Saudi Arabia and Egypt, they rejected it. They rejected Donald Trump to use the airspace as a base to be targeting Iran. So the reason I'm saying this is you can still check the news that what is happening, what is currently happening in Iran. So now you are doing this course, you should be able to know this information. So this is Arab Spring, where you see the Arabs trying to fight for something. Understand now? So when you say what is Arab Spring, what is Arab Spring? Understand now? Arab Spring. Arab Spring refers to the wave of popular uprising. It refers to the wave of popular uprising that began in Tunisia in December 2010. Understand? The wave of popular uprising, the uprising that began in Tunisia in December 2010 and spread to Egypt, Libya, Yemen, Bahrain, and Syria. Understand? It's a revolution that started from Tunisia in December 2010 and moved to other Arab nations. Understand? It's a long-standing political, economic, and social grievance, social revolution that created an explosive environment for revolutionary change. You will see that when you talk about the Arab Spring, you see that it starts as people rioting. Understand now? People will start rioting, causing for revolution, the same way they did EndSARS. Understand? The same way they did EndSARS, you understand now? So, if you watch the news yesterday regarding what is happening in Iran, not just yesterday is Thursday, let's say Thursday, between Tuesday and Thursday, the news regarding what is happening in the Middle East, Donald Trump pronounced itself. It says that he's waiting for the Iranian government to attack those people that are protesting. That if they attack those people that they are protesting, they are going to send the military. And this morning, he tried to seek the permission of Saudi Arabia and Egypt for them to give them the air base so that they can be attacking, how do you call Iran? But they rejected it. So, which means it first starts before they remove the government, before they remove Gaddafi, you will see that it was a small revolution. Till it gained media publicity and then other forces joined them. The same thing applicable to other parts where the Arab Spring work excellently. Now. So they are now asking us the question, say, factors that led to the Arab Spring. What are the factors that led to the Arab Spring? Factors that led to the Arab Spring. Number one factor, authoritarianism and political repression. Authoritarianism. You know, we have democratic system of government, we have military system of government, we have monarchical system of government. Now we have authoritative system of government. We're not saying about authoritarianism. Authoritarianism, a system of government whereby the leader does not listen to people. The leader take an authoritative decisions. You understand now? So the Arab regime had a long history of political exclusion. That is, there is no political party. Understand?
Sorry, you said authoritarianism and political
Political
what?
repression.
Okay.
So they have a centralized presidential authority. Understand? So the citizen, they lacked what we call political participation. You know, in democracy, you say government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But in this authoritarian system of government, the citizens are not part of the government. The citizens are not regarded because there is no political party to contest with the president or with the government. So because politically, the leaders were authoritative in nature, that they were authoritative in nature, this is one of the factors that prompted it. As you are seeing other countries doing election, your own country, no election. And even if there is no election, your leader is not treating you as you want them to treat you. So they wanted change in power. They wanted change in power. Number two, widespread corruption and abuse of power. 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 Political elites in the Arab Spring, in the Arab Spring, Arab zone, they monopolize wealth. When you say something, someone monopolizing wealth, they make their own circle only to be rich. They make their own circle, the elite, they monopolize wealth. And there was corruption for you in accessing jobs, education, and economic opportunities. It's happening everywhere. In Nigeria, it's happening. Before you get a better job, they'll ask you to pay something, understand? Like somebody asked me to bring 1.5 for me to get a job in NNPC. I don't get money. If I don't get a job in NNPC, make I stay for UK. Then I will say in UK, I'll be enjoying the cold. So there was corruption in accessing job, education, and economic opportunities. So this also led to one of the factors that prompted them to engage in the Arab Spring, the revolutions. Number three factor. Number three factor. Chronic economic hardship. Chronic economic hardship. Chronic economic hardship. High unemployment, especially among the youth, combined with rising food price, inflation, and lack of welfare deepen the frustration of people in Arab zone. Look at what is happening in Iran today as we are talking 2025. I thought we are in 2025. 2026. 2026, what is happening in Iran? The 1,000, I think the 1,000 or the 10,000, either 1,000 or 10,000 is not up to $1. You understand? Which automatically means that the price of food and services, goods and services and food and shelter is going to increase. There is going to be inflation, which means after you are done working for a whole month, your salary cannot even feed you. And this is one of the reasons that happened then that caused the Arab Spring. He said now, so the rising price of food, the inflation, and a lack of welfare opportunities deepen the frustration. In Iraq, you will see that in Iran, you will see that no one dare to question the leader in Iran. But if you see today, that this week that we had that people are now protesting, they are asking for a change in government. If we see that they're asking for a change of government now, it should be that they've enjoyed a lot. They've enjoyed a lot. So, although there is different perspective to it, people are saying that it's been financed by the West and the likes, but in all cases, in the Arab Spring, these people were, there was chronic economic hardship. So this led them to this movement. So, number 4, decline of fear. Decline of fear. Decline of fear. You have an authoritative government. So having an authoritative government, you'll be sharing to do anything, because anything you do, you can be condemned. Anything you do, you can be condemned. But the success of the Arab Spring in Tunisia broke psychological barriers across other regions. Because Arab Spring came from that part of the world, Tunisia, and they succeeded in Tunisia, this automatically brings a signal, a psychological signal. Before they fear the leader, before they fear to talk to the leaders. As in Nigeria now, we fear to challenge our leaders. So before they fear to challenge, to talk to the leaders. So because of that, because of what happened in Tunisia, the success of the Arab Spring in Tunisia, this broke these psychological barriers across that region, encouraging the citizen to challenge the dictatorships. So the success in Tunisia make them to challenge the leaders. That means if Tunisia can succeed in what's the name of the leader in Tunisia they overpower during the Arab Spring? Anybody to remind me, please, his name? I don't forget his name. Anybody to remind me? They overpower one leader in Tunisia during the Arab Spring.
I think it's Abidin, right?
Abidin, no, I don't think he's in.
Is it not Ben Ali?
Benadine.
No, Ben Ali.
Ben Ali. Yeah, Ben Ali. Ben Ali. I think it's Ben Ali. So because they were able to overpower the leader in Tunisia, this encouraged other youth, other citizens of other regions to question the leader. You see in Nigeria, in some part of Nigeria, the leaders, we cannot question them. We believe that they are always right. We believe that they are always right. But the day they will voice out that, no, you are not right, you will see that some things are going to change in Nigeria. Look at what happened during NSAS. So if what happened in NSAS in Lagos happened in major cities in Nigeria at the same time, you will see that our leader, they will calm down. They will do what we want. But it is what it is. Understand? So that's number 4, right? Number 5, influence of social media. Influence of social media. Influence of social media. The digital platform such as YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they provided a new tool for mobilization. Understand? And instant information sharing. Listen. So the state control the media normally. The state control the media. So what the state puts on the social media, on what the state puts on the TV, on the news, this is what people will believe. But with the advent of social media, people are now giving a different narrative. Which means today, if your governor in your state is saying that he's working, he's putting it on the social media, he's working, you as a citizen, you feel tackle the government with social media and take videos that, oh, this is the road that you said you did. This is what you can tackle the leader. So, but because of the advent of social media, it created a platform for mobilization, and also it reduced the state control over public narrative or public informations. Understand? Well, the last one on my list is a demographic youth bulk. Demographic youth bulk. Demographic youth bulk. Or you
Is
can say
it bold as in BALD?
BULGE. BULG. BULGE. Listen now. A growing percentage of
Democratic what?
educated
I didn't get you. Democratic what?
youth.
Okay.
Or if you cannot remember that one, just change it to a growing percentage of youth, educated youth. A growing percentage of educated youth. Just put it like that so you can remember. So there was growing percentage of educated youth. At the same time, they were unemployed. The percentage of unemployed youth skyrocketed. You understand? That is, you go school, you finish from school, no job. You understand now? So this youth demanded for dignity, jobs, and reform. You understand? This demographic pressure intensified discontent. That is, they were not satisfied with the leader. Listen, they were not satisfied with the leader. The youth, they got educated, but at the end of it, no job. Because no job, they have to fight for their way. Listen now. So now there is another question. I say, what is the implication of the Arab Spring on Africa? The implication of Arab Spring on Africa. You know, Arab Spring is the Middle East part of the world. Now they are not asking us the implication on Africa. Let me drink water. I'm coming. Just bear with me. They're asking for the implication of Arab Spring on Africa. Implication of Arab Spring on Africa. Implication of Arab Spring on Africa. Number one, security split over. Security split over. Understand? The collapse of Libya. Understand? The collapse of Libya released
Sorry,
weapons.
Mr. Akanji. I didn't get that. Security what?
Split over.
Okay. Thank you.
When you split water, you understand? Split over. The collapse of Libya, understand? Released weapons across Sahel. Understand? That is across major parts of Africa in Sahel zone. Understand? So, which gave birth to insurgent groups. Understand? Such as the Boko Haram, understand? The Akims, the Tuaregs in Mali. And I say in Nigeria we call them Boko Haram, but in other part of the Sahel, Mali, Burkina Faso, they have a different name they call them. Okay? So the how do you call the collapse of Libya make them to expand out of this Arab zone to another zone. So they create groups. Which means if a war, a crisis, a terrorist attack affects a place, there are chances that it's going to expand to another place. Another implication of this Arab Spring on Africa, migration and humanitarian crisis. Migration and humanitarian crisis. Listen, migrant workers in Libya and Tunisia and major part of the Arab Spring zone, they were forced to return home. Understand? Because of the insecurity. This causing shock in family and states. Listen, because of economic because of insecurity, migrant workers in this zone were forced to return back to Africa, which caused an humanitarian crisis. Son. Number three implication of this on the Arabs, on Africa rather, of Arab Spring on Africa, is the rise of new protest movement. The rise of new protest movement. So the Arab Spring, the Arab Spring inspire revolution in most parts of Africa. Which nations like Sudan, Ethiopia, Algeria, and other African countries were requesting for reform from their leaders. When did we start this class, please? When did we start?
10 a.m. We started 10, no,
10:25.
25.
10:25. That's 9:25 in UK, bro. We've used like 1 hour, some minutes, right? 25.
Yes.
Okay, let's proceed. Now, I was talking about what again? Implication of in Africa, right? The next one we have here is economic disruption. Economic disruption. Trade routes. Trade routes and investment flow were destabilized, affecting African economies depending on Northern African interaction. That these African nations having bilateral or multilateral interaction with the Northern Africa were affected because of this insecurity. Trade routes were cut short because of insecurity. Trade route was cut. Yesterday, there was a news of a man that ordered for a Nokia 16 phone. He ordered for the Nokia 16 phone before the Libya crisis. He got the phone yesterday. He ordered before the crisis in Libya, and he got it yesterday. You can Google it. He got the phone yesterday. So that's after more than 16 or 10, more than 14 or 10 years, more than 16 years. he got the phone yesterday because the trade route was blocked. There's insecurity, no way to bring in his goods. Understand now? So there was trade route and investment flow were destabilized, causing more African states depending on Northern African to have some economic hardship. Understand? Which number are we, please? Which number are we?
Number 4.
Number 4. Okay, number 5 now. Diplomatic realignment. Diplomatic realignment. So African governments, understand? They change their alignment as long-serving leaders in North Africa, Gaddafi and Mubarak. Understand? Gaddafi and Mubarak, they were removed. No, Gaddafi is a strong power that supported most African nations. Understand? He supported most African nations, most African leaders. He supported them. No, Gaddafi has money. Libya has money then. They were supporting most African nations. But because this Gaddafi and Mubarak, they were removed from power, the African nation have to change routes to find another alignment. I said that they have to find out to find another. Gaddafi plan was he want to make African a strong nations. African a whole, not one country. Africa as a whole. He want to make it a strong continent that that will be competing with other Western that will be competing with Westerners, but they did not let him achieve this aim. So after he was captured, the African nation have to realign themselves and find a way to align with people that can support them economically and militarily. So these are the implications of this Arab Spring on Africa. You can Google and find your own additional information to add to it. So this is it. If you have questions, you can ask me a question before I move to the next past question I have here. I will treat 2 questions and then we're done. So normally we do 2 hours every time we comes. So I want to look at one question I saw here. I just mark some question. ISIS movement. I think we've done ISIS, right? We've done it in module 3. Go and read ISIS. IS or ISIL. Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Go and read it. I think we've done it. So I saw one question I marked. I'm looking for the question. I can't remember the question. I can't see the question again. So this is, let me just stop here. Let me just stop here. This is the 3rd videos we're doing on the past question for exam preparation on the 805. So you can watch other videos on it. I wish every one of you good luck. Every one of us good luck. I'm part of you also. Every one of us good luck. And if you have any question, you can ask me question now, please. I want to stop the recording. So if you have question, you can ask me question.